first, and then as soon as we went on live,
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry we had some technical difficulties. Never seems to amaze me that this happens. But again, I am your host. I'm Bernita Howard. I am the founder of SWAT, which is Survivors with the Testimony. And on tonight, we have a special guest that's going to come and tell us a little of her story. She's still standing. She has survived and overcame molest. No, let me make sure I get it right. Neglect, molestation, and domestic violence. And so, as you guys know, it's important that we bring these topics because it's real people out here, and you never know from the smile on their faces the things that they've been through. Just a little bit about who I am, and I'm going to let Tiffany introduce herself. Again, I'm the founder. I am here tonight to not just um, interview Miss Tiffany, but also to allow her to know that SWAT will always be a support system for her. So, with that being said, you guys know how I am. We're going to get right into it. Um, but if you guys have questions, you can always ask. So, Miss Tiffany, can you just give them a slight introduction of who you are?
my name is Tiffany Morrow. I am a survivor. I've overcame a lot. I'm 38 years old. I have six beautiful girls, and I think it's about time that I open in my mouth and speak some truth so I can help somebody else and also set an example for my daughters.
Thank you so much. Guys, she got six beautiful daughters. And so this is important again, not just for you, not just for me, but for them.
Right.
And so um I'm just gonna give a little bit, guys. And so you know how I am. Want to know. I want people to understand, what domestic violence is. A lot of times people think domestic violence is just being hit on or a woman being hit by a man. But did you realize that domestic violence can happen right in your family? Abuse is abuse. No matter what type of abuse it is, it's abuse. Domestic violence is um, where your intimate partner abuse. But then, even in the midst of abuse, oftentimes there's neglect, there's molestation, there's rape, there's spiritual abuse, there's financial abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse. So it's so many different types of forms of abuse, and a lot of times we don't talk about it. We don't, and even as parents, when we're going through abuse ourselves, we try to hide it from our children, and oftentimes our children know. It is amazing. Our children know more than what we give them credit for, and
Mhm.
so the more that you try to hide from them, the more they know. And the more it affects them because they can't come to you and talk about it. Um, and then what happens when they do? Are you going to be that parent that's going to be there? You're going to be understanding? Or are you going to be that parent that just, turn a blind eye to it? So, Miss Tiffany, we're going to start with the neglect. Um, how young were you when the neglect started?
Well, I was young. My mom had 11 kids, so my mama basically worked a lot. She really wasn't at home, and then I didn't understand it. Now I understand it, but yeah, it started when we was young. It's like she was always at work. She used to work like 7 to 7, so she was barely at home. And me being the oldest, I had to make sure the other kids were okay. So I grew up at a young age. I think I started cooking when I was like 10 years old.
So you were the oldest out of 11 children.
Yes.
Okay. And so with that it comes a lot of responsibility because now you're having to help out.
Hmm.
So was your father not in the picture?
When I was younger, I heard stories, so I'm not really sure about that. But as I got older, yeah, I actually lived with my dad for a little bit.
Okay. So mom is often at work and it's you and the younger siblings at this time. How many siblings did you have where you was pretty much running the house?
6.
6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So on top of that, mom was working. So you stepping up to be the big sister, the mother like figure in the home. And, I have to say, oftentimes in our homes,
Mm-hmm.
when there is a single mom, or, and I hate to say this, sometimes women are with men and are still a single mom. I'm here to keep it
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
pretty much she's a single mom, 6 children, and working
Yep.
to provide.
Yep.
So it's not a mom that's just sitting home and collecting government
Mm-mm.
subsidies. So she's actually out working. But the downside to that is you leaving your child home to grow up really fast,
Yeah.
you know, to take care of your responsibility. So
Basically.
at that, if you can think back, a young age, being the head of the household, when mom wasn't there, how did that make you feel?
I wanted attention. I felt like she didn't have time. I felt like I didn't have nobody. Like it was a lot, but me and my sister and we were close when we were younger. So it's like it was a lot of us. So we got together. It didn't really bother us, but it bothered us because we didn't get to like play sports or hang out with friends. Well, I didn't. I couldn't wear nail polish. I couldn't do anything. All I knew how to do was change the pampers, cook, clean up, and it's crazy because that's how I am still to this day.
So, got a question for you because you say you have six children.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever find yourself during that, like, even as a parent, going through the cycle and think back? Because a lot of times, and I can say this even as being a parent, sometimes we try to do for our children or give our children the things that we didn't get. Did you find yourself doing that when you started to have your own children?
I'm guilty. I'm guilty. And it's
Listen.
not a good thing. It's not that it's not a good thing. You're not supposed to do that. I don't recommend nobody to do that. I find myself giving them more because I feel like I didn't get it. So it's like I feel like I give them more than anything. I teach them, but I let them get away with too much because I was so used to getting a whooping all the time, and I know how I felt. I just
Mhm.
don't. I don't think I would mind it if I need to, but I don't. Because I know how it felt. Like I got a whooping every single day. So it's like,
Wow.
no. So yeah, you are absolutely right. But it's not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
So, all right. So let's go back because and I know people are saying, well, how is that neglect? Because mom was out working. Mom was trying to provide for the household.
Right.
But at the same time, there was things missing. Attention is one. Even though you and your siblings knew how to bond, the love and the support of mom wasn't there, because if she was working from seven, you said 7 p to 7 a.
No, seven
No,
A to 7 P.
okay, 7 a to 7 p.
Mm-hmm.
So on a normal day when mom would get home at 7 in the afternoon, what would your day be like?
When she get home from work,
Hmm.
she'll go in the room. Check to make sure the house is clean and go in the room.
Wow. So there was no bonding.
No. And I feel like it's like the curse that's on the family. Like she didn't get that from my grandmother. So she said she didn't know how to give it to us. But it made me, and the way I think is like if you know how I feel to not get it from your parents, why would you want to take your child through the same thing? So the way my mind set up is I think I love on mine too much now because that I love you and them hugs and that support, it goes a long way.
It does.
Especially when you're not getting it from the daddy. You can't not get it from both parents. And that's just not okay. And my mom and my dad is both like that. They're not the emotional hugging, I love you type of parents.
And that's the thing in the, and I hate to say this, in the Black community, a lot of times our men and our women are not taught to love.
Yep.
They're taught to survive, but they're not taught to love. And so a lot of times in our community, we feel that as long as we're providing,
Yep.
we're showing you love, but it's not. It's two different things. You can provide for me all day and never
Hmm.
love me. And you can love me and never provide for me. And so oftentimes in our communities, our youth is neglected. So with that being said, they find themselves, seeking love in all the wrong places.
Absolutely right.
You know, just to hear, the young males, a lot of times they get caught up in games. You know why? Because
Hmm.
that member has told them, man, I got you. I love you. I'm here for you.
Yep.
Even at the end of the day, they might turn their backs on you. But
Hmm.
that bond that you feel at that moment means a lot.
Yeah, because you feel like you have somebody in your corner.
Right. So, and I want to say to any parent that's out looking at this, we're not tearing anybody down.
Oh no, because I did it.
um, we want, we want you to know that even though you provide doesn't mean that you love. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, we want to hear as your children, they want to hear as your children. And I have to say, my parents, you know, I got that. So sometimes when I'm doing these shows, it's kind of hard because, you know, my parents showed love in the home, um, sometimes probably too much love. Like
That's a
even
good
the love
thing.
that they expressed to us when we brought our friends home, whoever was around, they felt that genuine love. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So sometimes as a child, I would get mad because I'm like, why y'all so close to my parents? Go find your own parents. So I didn't understand it, that
Right.
people was really, I'm like, well, your mom work or your mom providing for you. You got nice, but to actually have with my parents, they said now we have family night. Um, there was like on Sundays where all the youth, the children, we would get together and go to the dollar movies.
Yeah.
Um, our parents done a lot of stuff within the home, but at the same time, they gave us time to bond with our siblings and our cousins or whatever. So
Hmm.
this is a little ticky, a little touchy for me because um, I can't say I know how you feel. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it's gonna be some parts when I'm interviewing you that I can relate to you, but when it's coming to this part, it's a little, I can't. But I could just imagine, how it feels.
Right.
Um, and so, all right, so you go through this, and why do you feel deep on the inside that you was neglected? Like, you know, I understand you was the oldest, understand mom was out, but why do you feel that neglect was there?
Cause my mama was the type of person that went to work and kind of stayed to herself. So I feel like if she really wanted to, it was time she could have spent time with us, but it was other things that she wanted to do with herself other than spend time with us. So it's like if she wanted to do it, she could have did it on a Saturday, on a Sunday, or something like that. But I figured maybe she was just too busy. Or, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So now we go through the neglect. And so, as I stated before, a lot of times people are looking for love in the wrong places.
I did that.
So eventually, um, there's a man that comes into the home.
Yes, ma'am. My stepdad.
Okay. And so, were they married or?
The day my mama married that man, I was crying. My auntie pulled me to the back and told me to mind my business. I'll never forget that. But it's like your kids know. The kids know. I knew, but he ended up abusing my mama. And I think one day, out the blue, he just walked in the room. And my mama must have been asleep in the room and told me to pull my covers back and reach out my hand. I didn't do it. And then there was a couple of times where he was like, well, I was growing up. So I had some, little bitty breasts coming in and he said, raise your shirt, shirt up, let me see it. It was stuff like that. Or let me see if you have hair going between your legs, stuff like that. So when I brought it to my mama, because I was now doing a lot of stuff getting in trouble at school. So she felt like because I was getting in trouble at school, I was using it to get out of getting in trouble. So she didn't believe me. She called my daddy, told my daddy to come pick me up, put me at the house.
All right. So before we go in, hopefully this video, but D Hawk's done a video. And I kind of want people to see this. So when I come back into your story, people understand a little of what we're talking about. So let's see what happens if it will let us share. And I just want my viewers to watch this video.
Shit, yeah, now this ain't for you, this for Taylor. Taylor, there you go. How you doing? That's for you, girl. Damn. Oh, for you.
Take the teddy bear, girl. I'm about to go. Gotta go to the store.
Where you going?
To the store.
Why?
You're not having no more house. We're going to the store.
Can I go with you?
No, just stay here. You can stay here. No.
You stay.
Girl, no.
Why?
No.
Let her go to the store, girl.
You know, what you mean? What you mean?
Why
Girl,
you
girl, I can go to the store. I can go.
She'll be back. Taylor, turn this little TikTok light out, girl. Whoa.
Jill,
Excuse me.
I will hit you with this. Get away from me.
Oh. I ain't did nothing but nice to you.
Get away from mom if you get any closer to me.
You what?
I'm calling my mother.
You tell your mother I'm gonna kill you and her. Hey, baby.
I got your shirt off.
Ooh, it's hot in here. You ain't got no air conditioning?
Yeah. Taylor, go turn the air on.
Oh, girl.
You see her doing nothing, messing up my stuff? Girl.
I'll be back.
What you mean you be back? You gonna go?
I gotta go get her some more stuff.
You put your shirt on backwards.
All right.
I see you when you get back, babe.
Okay,
Taylor!
Yeah.
Girl. So, I got some stuff from the store.
Okay, Mom.
That you gotta go for.
That man you just left in the house, he was harassing me.
What you mean harassing you? What you mean that man?
He had to take off his shirt and he started harassing me. He said he was going to kill both of us if I told you.
What? Girl, that don't even make sense.
How does it make sense? Did you not see how fishy he was acting?
No, I did not see nothing, Taylor. You always making stuff up. Like,
How did I make something up like that?
why wouldn't you? You do all this TikToking and running around here with your tight shirts on and tight pants. Like, what do you mean?
You bought me the clothes.
I bought you the clothes. Okay, so that means you're supposed to be flying your ass around my house talking about this man harassing you. That's a good man. He cook, he clean, he got a college degree.
That doesn't mean he ain't do nothing.
Do nothing like what?
Harass little kids.
You don't harass nobody. Probably you being here, probably you're harassing him.
So not only did the girl get molested, the mother believed the dude, which puts her down in further depression. I'm so tired of these TikTok and these twerk challenges. No, let's be a parent challenge. That child did not ask to be here. You brought that child here. That's your responsibility.
Yep.
And molestation could come all the way down in the form of pastors, grandfathers, fathers, brothers, cousins. Stop leaving your child with everybody. You protect your phone. You only can't nobody get next to your phone. The same way with your kids. Hello.
So I wanted to bring that. I wanted to show that because as we're talking about your story, and even if we just elaborate on that video, he didn't get far because she came back. But what if she didn't come back as soon? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I tell women all the time, and I tell men the same thing. You can't have everybody around your child.
Yeah.
Every man that you meet should not meet your children.
Yeah.
Every woman that you meet should not meet your children. Everybody don't have your children's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
People can put on a good show in front of you. But as soon as you leave,
yeah,
they are a complete different monster. Complete different monster. And so, as I told you earlier, I wanted to show that because, as he say, not only did his mom not believe that child, she turned the situation and made it seem like it was this little girl.
Yeah.
That is something.
Yeah.
So now getting back to your story, because the whole purpose, and everything tried to go wrong tonight. So we couldn't do this. And this is a step forward for you to your healing. Are you going to heal completely tonight? No, ma'am.
No.
But this is a step forward because you know what? It's another young lady or a male that has been where you are and saying, what could I do? And because you took the strength to stand tall, push forward,
Man.
and do this, you're going to help somebody. Not just yourself, but you also got those girls there, yours. Yes. You're going to help somebody. So let's get a little bit into your story. So your stepfather tells you to pull your shirt up, checking you for pubic hairs, different things like that. Did he ever touch you? Like actually touch you inappropriately? No. It was just the different things that he done. Mm-hmm. So did you tell mom?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She didn't believe me. She called my dad to pick me up.
So not only was he harassing you, but the person that brought you into this world didn't believe you. Mm-hmm. How did that make you feel? Like,
to be honest with you, it didn't even bother me. You know, when you take so much, you just become immune. You just become so used to it. It didn't really bother me. Nothing really bothers me like it's supposed to sometimes because
you have buried your feelings so far. Yes. You've dealt with so much that you buried your feelings.
Yeah.
And so instead of expressing them, you find a way to bury them and just don't deal with it.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
And that used to be me. And then when you explode, all that's built up, it's just like, whoo, it's no controlling.
I know.
Once it build up and you explode, It can't nobody. And so I'm going to say this to you. Starting tonight, stop suppressing it.
I'm working
Start
on it.
letting it go. And the reason being, you have 6 girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our children mimic us most of the time. Okay. And so instead of expressing themselves, if I see mama suppressing, I'm gonna learn to suppress my feelings as well.
Yeah.
And so you know what happens? We don't want to talk about it, but it started a generational curse of suppressing our feelings. And that's why in our communities, mental health
Is that it's high.
is at its high. We're taught to mentally deal with it,
Yep.
suppress it. Then when we let it go, we're angry. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yes.
We need a psychological evaluation. No,
Yes.
let's start now. Let's get our evaluations. It's okay. It's okay to be evaluated, babe, because I've been there. And I still go see my therapist. I
Mm.
still go see my counselor. You know why? I need it.
I tried it. I quit. I tried it.
Let me tell you, I went through over 30 before I got the right one.
Right.
It took this little short lady for me to walk in here. And I'm like, you're just going to take my money just like the rest. And she said, listen, this is your choice. I looked over she said, but what do you want out of this? So what do you mean? You can't help. And I had that attitude. You can't help. Everything was suppressed on the inside. So she was just another person that was just going to take my money, tell me what they think, and thought that I was going to go get a whole bunch of medications. That's what I thought. She said,
Yeah.
listen, the only way that you can get the help that you need is you got to want it. She said, because if you don't, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to get paid. Your choice.
Yep.
The first one out of about 30 of them. And I'm like, this little lady. But I said that to say to you, because not only did I deal with it, I had to watch my children deal with it too. But because it wasn't like domestic violence right then for them, it was like maybe anger or medical conditions that was going on. It was all because they was learning to suppress. So then when they let go, it's like, what in the world?
Yep.
And so even with everything that we deal with, guess what? We become immune to it. And that's why we're able to tell these stories, because guess what? We have suppressed, became immune, and then we become magnets to abusive relationships.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about that. Because you said in the beginning, you're a survivor.
I am a survivor.
You went through domestic violence. Your first time ever going through, about how old were you?
17.
17.
17.
So I know growing up, I was told if a boy hit you, he like you.
Nah, that's not true.
Okay.
No.
Do you tell your
No.
children that? Because I
Oh
definitely
no. No
okay.
ma'am. No ma'am.
So I always taught my children from, if he touch you, it's time to go.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
It's
ma'am.
time to go. It's time to come with an action plan. I don't call it a safety plan when it comes to my children. I tell them they need an action plan. We need to put some things in action so you can get out of there. And so the key to it is your children don't always listen. You don't want them to go through what you went through. So 17, you have your first domestic violence. You're introduced to it. Who did you tell?
Nobody. In the beginning, nobody.
Why?
I don't even know.
Were you ashamed?
I think I was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if you start telling, like I was living with my dad, so if I gotta tell my daddy not gonna let me see him no more. That's how I thought. So I didn't tell. I didn't tell. But then when I started telling, it was crazy. It was his mama because my parents at some point was like, well, you got pregnant and you moved in with the boy, you got married, so it's like you grown. So it's like I dealt with it. I dealt with it. I dealt
So
with it.
you
And
got
then
married.
I was so used to what was happening at home to well, maybe this is what it's supposed to be like. I mean, my mama didn't care. My mama did it. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I stayed with him.
So how long did you stay with him?
Oh, man. It was off and on. And the crazy part about it, I kept going back. Like I didn't already know what was going to happen. I kept going back. Blackout. Leave, come back.
Mm-hmm.
Leave, come back. Just kept repeating the same cycle.
And statistics say it takes 7 times before you actually leave your abuser. I went back to mine even after he beat a baby out of me. I went back. Um, and the saying is so true. Until you get fed up,
Yep. It's like
but
no matter what nobody else say,
and your heart is sincerely there.
it
They
is.
can be a monster and people can see it, but until you see it, it's like, well, what did I do? I
Yep.
blame myself a lot. Like,
Yes.
if I didn't say anything, this wouldn't have happened. But guess what? He has seen it. He's seen it growing up. I didn't. So he introduced me to it. And so I honestly didn't know. I was like, is this what happens like when you get grown? You know what I'm saying? You get on
Hmm.
your own. Like, what really happens? I
Right.
didn't see this in my home, but was it really happening in my home? But no. He's seen it. And so he just felt like as a male, he had the control, you know. Um, so you get pregnant, you get married. How many children do you have by your
Two.
husband? 2.
We had two.
So then after this relationship, y'all go your own separate ways. Then
Yes. I meet another one.
that magnet mentality.
This one gave me 3 kids, but this one he hit me, but he didn't hit me. He was more of a control person.
Mhm.
Every time I had a baby, I got pregnant with another baby. When I had that, because they're 10, 9, and 8. So every time I got pregnant, I got pregnant. Until after that letter, I was like, oh, baby, no. You're not going to keep knocking me up. But he was more like, you don't have to go to work or you don't have to go nowhere. I got to stay home, take care of the kids. Until he put me out when my baby was 2 weeks old. Yeah.
So now you're out on the street and you have 5 children, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I have all 6 of them.
You have all 6. Oh,
I
wow.
have all 6 of them.
So a 2-week-old baby and your other babies, and
Yeah.
he put you out.
Yep.
What did you do? Where did you go?
Went to my mom's. And then my mom's feel like I wasn't moving fast enough. So she called him and told him she's here. She's not a good mama. Come get the kids. So I pack all my stuff up, load my van up, trying to leave with my kids, and he found me and he followed me. I drove around Houston trying to get away from this man, but he finally left us alone. Yeah.
And so, all right. So now 6 children. Um, did you have to take out a restraining warrant or anything against him?
I've never took out a restraining order until I got with the last one. I've never took out a restraining
So
order.
this, so now you get with this last one, and he abuses you.
And this one right here took the cake. This man welcome showed me some stuff I have never seen. And it's so crazy because I can honestly say he had my mind. That man had my mind. Cause it's like but it's like, no. Just him, and he knew it because he'll call me on video to look at me in my eyes or let me hear his voice. Because he knew he had my mind.
And he was the type that you used to have to video call?
Baby, I had to sit on the phone 24/7, video call, where you at, let me see what you're doing. Let me check your underwear when you get home from work. Make sure you ain't sleeping with nobody. Sit at my job all day long. This man right here, oh, baby.
So if he said to your job, was he not working?
He got fired. He got fired. He was the type of driver around in your car while you at work. And I let him, though. I let him.
So what do you say to your daughters? Because now you got 6 and they've seen this. What do you say to them?
I can tell them all day long, but I have a 19-year-old that went through the same thing I went through. And now she's back home with me. And it's like when I tell her something, the first thing she tell me is, well, how can you tell me that, Mama, you did it? Oh, I hate that. And I tell her, like, well, if you know I did it, and you seen what I went through, and you knew it was wrong, why? But now I'm here to show them the right way. Like, no, I'm trying to catch them because I still have 3 more to go.
So now if somebody would have asked you that at 19, why are you there? You know?
I love them.
Exactly. But one of the most powerful things that you said tonight is, now I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them the difference. You don't have to settle.
No.
And what I love is your door is open for your children. You know, I do understand that when they start coming back home and they done been on their own, it is a whole different other whirlwind. You'd be like, whew.
Lord have mercy.
I would rather for them to be home.
Right.
And for someone to be calling me, telling me to come identify them, to put them in a casket.
Right.
And I say that a lot because oftentimes, you know, if they've made a mistake or, you know, they done something that was against us, they can't come back home. But I love that your children are able to come back home.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Always. Mom, because I feel like I didn't have that. When I went through stuff, I had to go to a shelter. I had to stay with my cousin and figure it out. It was like my mom would be like, I have too much or too many kids or, you know, stuff like that. But I was like, I don't know.
So this last one, you said he topped the cake. Sitting at your job, lost his job, sits at your job. How did he support himself, or did you support him?
I did. I did it all. And then you know what? And I complained about it, but I still did it. But you know the crazy part about it, when you meet him,
the sweetest man in the world.
Went to church with me, was so nice, was cooking with me. Everything seemed so perfect until we moved in together. Oh my Lord. He showed it. And I didn't leave. I think I moved 9 times. To get away from him. Didn't even know that he was able to track my car. I didn't know he was tracking my car.
So did he have a tracker in your car?
When I got the car, we was together. You know, talking to the dealer. He told me about the app, but I wasn't thinking, you know, listening or paying it on mine. This man he was listening. He downloaded the app. I think I went to his phone one day and I clicked on and a picture of my car popped up. I'm like, what the world? Like, you been watching me? That's how you been popping up everywhere I go, baby. He knew exactly where I was at. He knew exactly where I was at.
So what would you say to a young woman? Just say that you're talking to your daughter and she's saying, Mom, me and this guy's about to purchase a vehicle together. What would you say to her?
No, don't do it. Get your vehicle in your name by yourself. No, because it's something about, and all men are not like that, but it's like majority of them, it's a control thing for me. And it may be the way my mind's set up because of what I've been through, but it's like I don't trust it. It's like now I pay attention to every little bitty thing. My eyes are open now. Like, no, you do that for yourself. No, your apartment, your car, all of that. No, ma'am.
So nobody can ever put you out and nobody can tell you
Exactly.
to work hard.
Exactly. No,
So
ma'am.
I want to say to you, thank you so much tonight
No
for
problem.
coming on. Um, you know, as I told you from day one when I first spoke to you, SWAT is always here. If you just need us for whatever, just to talk, whatever, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say to the viewers, um, thank you guys for those that have watched, for those that are going to watch later on. If you have questions, you guys know that you can always post a comment and we're going to respond. Someone from SWAT would definitely respond to you. But as you see, this young lady is still standing. Um, she is standing after all she's been through. So it's our job in the community, no matter near or far, to always offer support, um, to be there, to offer guidance. No matter how old you will always
Mm-hmm.
need guidance, especially when you've been through so much. And tonight, for that one person that's listening, that's watching, it's okay to speak up and speak out. Because at the end of the day, if you hear, we want you to still stand. Stand on everything that you have on the inside of you. I want to say to you, Tiffany, the neglect didn't hold you back. The
No.
molestation didn't keep you back. And the
No.
domestic violence didn't. You're still standing. Keep pushing forward.
Yes,
Keep
ma'am.
telling your story because your story is going to help somebody.
Okay.
Keep being an awesome mother. Keep just keep pushing. You got this.
Yes, ma'am.
To if there's someone in an abusive relationship and you don't, maybe he or she is not hitting you. Maybe they just have that power and control. They control where you go. They control who's around. If when you leave home you got to video them the whole time, that's not
Mm-mm.
always love.
Those are red
If
flags.
exactly, those are flags that you need to be preparing to get
Yes.
out. I wish that I can tell you that as soon as you leave, that everything will be okay. But as you heard our guest story tonight, it's apps out there where they can download and they can find out where you are. Um, they can put tracker devices in your car. So you want to be mindful of who you are around, who you have around your children, and just mindful of who you are. But I want to say to any woman that's watching, don't lose yourself
No, ma'am.
trying to make him happy. I want to say to that man, don't lose yourself trying to make her happy. In a relationship, everybody's putting 100% in. I hate to hear people say it's 50-50. No, you put 100 in and I put 100 in because we're going to know our worth. I'm worth every piece of you that you put into me. And I'm definitely worth every ounce of me that I'm going to put into me. Okay? If you're in an abusive relationship and you don't know the red flags, you can always go to our site and just click on it. We have so much that we talk about on our site. I'm trying to get it to, but Our website is survivorswiththetestimony.org. You see our mission. We're here to stop the various forms of domestic violence. But if you're in an abusive relationship, develop a safety plan. With your safety plan, one of the things that you need is your ID. You need identification for every person in your home. If you have children, get your immunization cards, birth certificates, social security cards. Get that stuff together. Put money aside. One of the things is a lot of people feel that if they come to an organization, they can just help. We don't always have the funding to just help. Sometimes it takes you having your own as well. Starting over is okay. I'd rather for you to start over than your family to have to start over without you. We don't know the mentality of every person. And so with that being said, we need to make sure that you are safe. And one of the ways to make sure that you are safe is to be able to put you into safe housing, right? Today is Giving Tuesday. So if you guys want to give to the organization, all our information is scrolling below. You can go to survivorswiththetestimony.org and you can give. If not, your prayers work just as well, so we can continue to do what we do. We will be back next Tuesday with another powerful testimony. And the second Tuesday in December, we will be talking about healthy relationships. So we have amazing couples. We have them all ages that's going to come. And they're going to talk about their healthy relationships. And I'm not saying that there's not trials in healthy relationships, because we all know that they are. But how do they get through it? So we don't keep having our young women and our young men being abused. So I want to say to you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Next Tuesday, we will see you guys next Tuesday. So tune in. You all be blessed and have an amazing night.